The Greatest Showman is a 2017 musical film produced by Fox and directed by Michael Gracie. It had a production budget of $85 million and made $174 million domestically with a gross of $260 million globally. Nominated for an Oscar and two Golden Globes, winning one Globe. It is the first movie that I saw twice in theaters ever. It often makes me cry. It's an incredible soundtrack that's constantly on one of my Spotify's heavy rotation. On top of all that, it has a stacked cast, a fun story, and I love this movie a lot. But you saw the thumbnail. Why should this movie be remembered? Why should you continue to think about this movie once the credits have ended? You could talk about the cast and their remarkable performances, so much told with just facial expressions. You could talk about Zendaya, Zac Efron, Hugh Jackman. You could talk about the incredible dancing and choreography, the music, so much work put into it by Justin and Benji. Music that can tell a whole story like a musical should, but also is an anthem that we can all shout and sing. You could talk about the incredible production design from the sets, paintings, miniatures, the costume design. So many incredible, talented people worked so hard to bring you into a period piece that was also so magical and full of color. It was just fun. The cinematography that tells the nuance of this period piece. There are so many things, so many talented efforts that went into making this film that you could talk about. But the ultimate reason that I believe this film could be remembered and loved is actually because of the messages it holds.
This is me. Look out, 'cause here I come.
Anyone could walk away from this movie chanting, "This is me," only understanding it to be a plea to our bigotry world. And good for them. Good for the filmmakers for making us feel such a necessary emotion to open up our hearts a little bit more and love people a little bit better. But the sadness behind that comes because, as great as the declaration of social acceptance is, it's completely off target. This moment in the film and the purpose of this great song is fulfilling, and it's because it's a great moment of self-acceptance. If you just pay attention to the movie, it spells it all out for you. The oddities are persuaded by PT, and really the promise of people loving them. Honestly, they do it because of PT's confidence in them.
People will come from all over the world, and when they see him, they won't laugh. They'll salute.
There is no newfound confidence that they have. It is simply just a trust in the praise that they receive from the crowd, from others, which I love. I love that that's included because each one of us in the journey of self-acceptance often has to lean on someone else's love for us to be able to stand on our own. So anyway, they rely on the praise of others, creating a false sense of confidence is really just arrogance. And it isn't until the praise from others is lost in favor of someone else that they perform for themselves for the very first time, truly gaining self-love. Now, I have to be honest here, for a long time, I was part of the group that believed this was a manifesto to the world to accept that this, meaning weaknesses, imperfections, differences, is me. So that we could shout to the world that all of this, all of the mess that I am is me. And that I and we should be accepted. And as good intention as I felt it is, I always went away from that scene in the movie thinking that it was just so limited and almost a little dumb. And I don't want to live in a world where each one of us comes to another with all our imperfections and says, "This is me. Now you better accept it, and don't you dare tell me to change because it's me. Accept it." And I don't want to be misunderstood here. Please don't misunderstand. I think we all need to be more accepting of one another within and without our differences. Tolerance and love is something that the world needs more of. But it's paradoxical to demand love of differences while also demanding love of weakness. You see, it is our human weakness and imperfection that causes us to be unloving and intolerant to those differences. So to progress to that needed love, we are going to have to expect better than our weaknesses. We are going to have to expect people to progress and change. And maybe it's just my fault for misunderstanding this song in this movie. Maybe you all understood it all along. What it really is saying is that this is all my strengths. This is all my talents. I'm a singer. I'm a dancer. I do trapeze, and on and on and on. But on top of that, I have these abnormalities that make me a little bit different, make me a little self-conscious. I'm a bearded woman. I look like a dog. I'm black in a world where that's not accepted. I'm ridiculously tall, whatever it may be. So this really is all of my strengths and talents, and also all the things that make me me, glamour or not. And I'm okay with it. And I'm done caring about what other thinks, trying to change because someone else is not like this. Sadly, though, the problem with our world doesn't seem to be with bearded ladies or dog-like boys. Because we can't get it through our thick heads that people with a different skin color are not somehow less than us. Because there are people that somehow believe one race is still supreme. Yes, sure, may be me, and that may be you, but this is also me, and it's also you. And I didn't intend to get so passionate about this, but I could not help but address the devastating attacks that have happened to so many innocent people while talking about a film that declares the need for the power of self and social acceptance. Now I'm getting a little sidetracked, so let's get back on course. This moment in the film, this message is most definitely about the acceptance of our differences and the celebration of our strengths. But it will always break my heart to hear people who take this wonderful truth and twist it into justifying weakness and imperfection. We cannot expect ourselves to rise above hate and intolerance if we do not expect ourselves to progress beyond imperfection, weakness, and mistakes. Your oddness may be what makes you you, but lying isn't an oddness, it just makes you a liar. Bullying just makes you a bully. We could go on and on about the many imperfections, but I still haven't gotten out of the weeds, so let's bring it back. This message is really about self-acceptance, something we all need more of. Accepting those things that make me odd, especially those insecurities I hold so close and I don't really reveal. In addition to all my wonderful strengths and talents, and sadly those imperfections I'm still working on to rectify, all of that is me, and it's great, and it's probably a mess, and it's also a work in progress, and I accept it, but more importantly, I love it. And I love that I'm a work in progress because it means that I'm only getting better. That's the most exciting part, is that by loving and accepting ourselves, it allows us to move on from those imperfections.
I don't know what my future will be.
I do.
I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say it all sounds crazy. They can say I've lost my mind. I don't care, so call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design.
The first time I saw this movie, this moment right here is the reason that I cried. You see, something about me is that I'm a dreamer. And I'm a dreamer that often feels misunderstood by those around me and those that are important to me and those I love. And as young PT started to sing, each word in his mouth I felt like was a breath of my own emotions. Lying awake at night, dreaming about a world so colorful and so exciting, so fantastic and unique that you can't help but dream about it, but so elaborate that I wonder if it will simply remain a dream. This movie, and especially this moment, made me feel understood, and it gave me a greater understanding of my own dreams. It re-excited me about those dreams and got me excited about the potential of accomplishing them. And then it immediately rips it away with a hard cut to reality. But even that just made me feel more understood, that within my dreams, there's this harsh reality that I can't avoid. But it's a movie, so of course I didn't just leave with that sad, harsh cut. I left the theater excited. I felt inspired. I was inspired by PT's persistence, which, in case you didn't notice, the movie really points out, from forgotten signs to a failed wax museum. I was empowered with the idea of turning any setback into an advantage. Coupled with the power of belief in myself, I felt like I could do anything. Because honestly, who doesn't want to dream with your eyes wide open? Like, that is a description, holy moly. All of those dreams coming into your life, just thinking about the possibility of that is just exhilarating for me.
You can flick the switch and brighten up your darkest days. The world becomes a fantasy, and you're more than you could ever be, 'cause you're dreaming with your eyes wide open. Whoa, and you know you can't go back again to the world that you were living in, 'cause you're dreaming with your eyes wide open. So come alive.
The sad thing is that despite the greatness of those dreams, we, and maybe just me, give up on them so easily. We tell ourselves the possibilities are small, if anything at all. so we accept the fate of a zombie in a maze. I can't help but feel that that's wrong, that there's something more that we need to strive in reaching our dreams. And each time I watch this movie, I gain a greater determination to never give up on those dreams, to the point where I'm making this video. Now on to the last message, my favorite one. The phrase is that the best is last, and this is true in this case. You see, I've heard many complaints about this movie and having conversations that it's not a good movie because it has bad morals. You see, PT cheats on his wife. Emotional infidelity, maybe, but cheating, I'm going to have to say no. And I'm not bringing this up to discuss whether PT cheated or not. Just stick with me for a second as I explain it. Because to understand what's actually happening and the meaning of it all, we need to understand Charity and PT and their relationship a lot deeper. Charity's dream was to have a life with Phineas, big or small. She sings about it, just be together. And Phineas's dream, or PT's dream, was kind of two parts. The first was providing a wonderful life and home for his wife. And the second part was totally selfish. And I believe that it's the larger part, and receiving validation from the upper class. It made him feel like he was nothing. For so long, that upper class ripped everything away from him. And he just wanted to feel and prove to them that he was actually something. And for the first part of the movie and the story, those dreams kind of work in tandem. You could stop the movie right here and it'd be a wonderful story. They have a house, their needs are met, even some of their wants. Life is good. He's able to let his daughter go to dance. But for PT, it's sadly not enough. He chases after the praise of the world.
The crazy speed of always needing more.
He chased after a talented singer and went on a U.S. tour with her. Not because he was in love with her, but because he made a business decision to change the brand of P.T. Barnum, to be a little bit more high class. Sadly, because in a moment of decision, he loved the praise of the upper class more than he loved his family. This moment in the movie, this is just somebody else's dream, not P.T.'s. He realizes the fault in what he's done, and he comes home to be with his family. It's a wonderful choice. You know, a shocking moment kind of woke him up, and he goes home to be with his family. And there's this little detail in here that I love.
Girls. Oh, you've gone so much. Stop it.
And maybe they just threw it in there because really he's noticing them for the first time in a long while. So he's with his family once again, but sadly, a moment of reconciliation can't eliminate the consequences of previous wrongs. So it comes around, as they say. Charity leaves, and not because of the kiss that's in the newspaper. You see, Charity's dream was to have a life with him. You see, the bank comes for their home, and Charity understands in that moment that PT chose to love his business and his brand more than his family, and he made a business decision that cost him that life, even if it was just a simple one. Charity wasn't sad that the house was gone. She was sad that the life they had together was. Ultimately, because he chose to leave it alone in praise of something else. So that kiss was kind of just the cherry on top of this sad little mess he's in. So he loses it all. And just like the oddities before him, PT is at rock bottom. But this rock bottom allowed him to move from the love of others that was lifting him up to the love of himself, and to be able to focus on what really matters.
A man learns who is there for him when the glitter fades and the walls won't hold. 'Cause from that rubble, what remains can only be what's true. If all was lost, there's more I gained, 'cause it led me back to you.
From Now On is a powerful song because it is him vowing to himself that he won't lose sight of what matters. He did it once and he won't again. It's more than just recognizing a wrong. It's vowing to be better. It's change and improvement and overcoming mistakes. It's accepting that this was me, but this will not be me. And this is powerful.
I brought hardship
Because
with
there
me
will come a time
and our family.
that each one of us will make
Warn
a
me.
poor business decision.
And I wouldn't
We will
listen.
lose sight of what matters most, and a mistake will be made.
I just
those we love will get hurt. So for each one of us, there will come a time when you need to look at someone you love and have to say, I am sorry. But from now on, I will be better. And I hope that we all have the courage to say it with the conviction and determination to be better. That is why this film will always be remembered by me, because the ability to say, I'm sorry, I have done wrong, is a strength that I want to be better at. The world needs more courageous apologies. But we can't talk about this without talking about the other side of the coin. There's something far greater than being able to say I'm sorry, and that moment belongs to charity alone. That is the power to say, I forgive you. And I hope and I even pray that every single one of you who works up the strength to say I am sorry, that you are blessed in return to hear the words, I forgive you. That is why this movie is able to end on a high note. The PT is able to watch his daughter in a ballet because one person worked up the courage to say I'm sorry, and someone else worked up the courage to be able to say I forgive you. Forgiveness is something I hope we all remember. Wow, it's pretty exhilarating to finally have one done, get that one under the belt, give me a lot more confidence to press on and get some others done. So if you could definitely just subscribe for the next video coming, and also share this video with your friends, let's spread the great word. Thanks again for watching.